You want this leverage. 3 months of strategic referral partners in just 2 days. What's up, friend? CEO and co-founder of FlowChat.com, Chris here. We're talking to real entrepreneurs that are getting real results, but not just for a month, 2 months, but not just for a year, for years. In fact, today's entrepreneur that we get to talk with has built up a career not only online, but he even started in some of the local markets, and he's combined all of this geniusness. Please meet Michael. Michael, how's it going?
Hello, good to meet you. Good to be here.
Appreciate. Hey, where we didn't even get to chat about this before just jumping on. Where are you based?
I am in Southeast Connecticut.
Ah, East Side. See, I'm in Vegas. All right.
Okay.
I've never been to Connecticut. Everyone listening, watching that also hasn't been there. What's the first thing that we need when we go to Connecticut?
First things you need when you go to Connecticut.
Need to
So
go
you know how
eat
every
or
state
do or
has this
see?
great sense of pride of their state?
Yeah.
We don't have that.
Oh,
Connecticut's
okay.
just the place between New York and Boston. But there's all this history, and Mark Twain is from Connecticut.
Okay.
P.T. Barnum's from Connecticut. So there's all this great history that nobody ever talks about, but there's some really cool stuff. P.T. Barnum, like of Barnum and Bailey Circus and the movie, he basically built the city of Bridgeport more or less. He didn't do it himself, but he sort of led that. And
Charge.
but yeah, two of the coolest things out in our area are the Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, which are Indian casinos done right. We hear so many stories about like casino comes to town, it brings crime and whatever. These I call them $1 billion family run businesses. They are incredibly socially responsible. They compete to give more to the local community. Like
Cool.
they don't fight over customers. They fight over who gets the diamond, platinum, super sponsorship of the gala dinner. So
Wow. Okay.
amazing organizations to live near.
The stage is set. I appreciate it. Well, thanks for coming on. Today, we're going to focus on networking, connecting, but doing it strategically. We've often heard it said, your net work is your net worth.
Hmm.
And Michael's got some cool things to share with us because he's not only been doing this, but he's been facilitating environments for this to happen at scale. And if you're like me, you're interested in leverage and you're interested in scale, which is why we're going to have this conversation. So selfishly,
Yep.
so
Yep.
Michael, I'd like to start. Why networking? Why referral partners? How did you get into this type of way of acquiring?
So I don't know when I first learned about networking. I know I read a couple books that kind of got it. I mean, at this point, I feel like I've been doing it forever, and I know I haven't. So at some point, I wasn't, and then there was some books I learned about it. I heard about BNI and whatnot, and then I was. But it really came into play when I moved to this area to Groton, Connecticut, and I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a job or a business or anything, but I knew I needed to know people because I was coming in completely cold. And I
That's
just
easy for
started
me.
going to networking events, and I'm naturally extroverted and outgoing, which I later discovered you don't need to be a great networker. In fact, introverts are often better networkers because they do things like follow up and tracking things and keeping track of details, which I
Right.
just provide a lot of value up front to compensate for. But so being extroverted and high energy, I just started going to events and I'd meet people. And I didn't have anything to sell them because I didn't have a business. So I just said, "What are you looking for? How can I help you?" "Oh, you want to meet that kind of person? Have you met this guy over here?" And I'd bring them over. "Have you met this person over here?" And before I knew it, within a few months, I was connecting mayors to CEOs to nonprofit leaders because there's this funny thing in New England that people don't like to cross running water. So
Hmm.
someone would be 10 miles away and they'd never met them. The mayor of this town
Wow.
hadn't met this business leader the next town over. I'm like, how have you not made these connections? But, there's all kinds of different silos and barriers, and just you don't happen to run into someone. And I had the passion for making those connections. I ended up writing a book called The Guy Who Knows a Guy, which is how I got the title of The Guy Who Knows a Guy. And then in 2020, when things went online, it took it to the next level because Southeast Connecticut is not a major commercial hub. I mean,
Right.
we've got a Navy base, we've got some pretty cool casinos, but it's not like the place where you go to find your fortune. Then I went to the internet in 2020, and that's the place you go to find your fortune because everyone's there. It's huge. And so I started using what I learned in years of local networking, that same idea of giving first and how can I provide value and serving everyone I meet. And when I leveraged that online, I started meeting incredible people, people running 6, 7, 8-figure businesses, and people who know incredible things about everything from marketing to mindset, manifestation, and things that don't start with M. All kinds of things, and met all these people and discovered the whole online business industry and coaching and all that, and went from once again saying, hey, what's going on here, to really having a good understanding of it through meeting with, after you talk to 2,000 people, you tend to pick up a few things.
I hope
And
so.
that's it. It's just, frankly, when some people ask, why are you so good at networking? I say, well, I hate cold calling, and I don't really like reading a lot. And I mean, I like reading well enough. Don't let my daughter hear you say I don't like reading. But I don't like doing all that like work, but I like talking to people.
Yeah.
So if I could make good connections, build value, build relationships, and that means I don't have to cold call, and I can learn by interviewing people on my podcast and getting on, at summits and whatnot, that's way more fun than sitting and reading books by myself and cold calling strangers. So I learned how to do it the fun way.
Cool. That's the fun way. Now, I like the comment that you made, kind of a self-proclaimed or identified extrovert. But hey, if you're listening to this and you identify more as an introvert, fear not. You can still do this. But there's one thought I wanted to throw out there regarding that. One is you can either be an introvert that builds the skill to go network and do some of this, or you could just find like one friend, maybe even named Michael, that likes to do this thing,
Yep.
and just say, hey, here's who I'm looking for. And then off to the races Michael goes on your behalf. And
Yep.
I know that kind of fits into the theme of, referral, finding this right referral partner. So I'd like you to talk about that a little bit. Some, people listening and watching, how do you find the right referral partner for, my business, for your business, for the person listening, watching this, their business?
Sure. Yeah, and that's what I was saying with how introverts are actually better networkers to a degree, because they're the ones who, but partly they don't want to have to go out and meet a whole bunch more people because that's difficult for them. Me, like,
Exhausting.
meet more people, that sounds great. And introverts like, meet more people. Oh, can I meet like 30 people and just make it the right 30 people and then leverage those?
Or
So
yeah.
introverts are better at keeping track of those details, remembering the birthdays and remembering their kids, and sending them the brownie box and sending them the cards and really deepening that relationship, which is so powerful. And so if you're looking for the right relationships, if you'd like to have the minimal number of meetings to get the benefits of networking instead of the maximum number of meetings, then it's first thing you need to do is understand what you're looking for. So what is your business, your goal? Who is your audience? What do you need? And then who is the partner who has that? So if you're looking for a promotional partner who can promote you to their audience, let's say, then you need to know who your audience is. You can't say, oh, all entrepreneurs. There's no partner who can help you for that. You need to niche it in. You need to know that our audience, and it doesn't have to be 27 to 36-year-old white males who drive pickup trucks. You don't need that, but you need to have some psychographics that you can say, this is our audience. Our audience is women who have quit their jobs in disgust because they know they could do it better than their male bosses, and now they are starting their own businesses, and they're in the holistic wellness or mindset space, which I think still describes a massive portion of the coaching industry. But it narrows it in enough that that a partner can say, oh, yes, that is our audience. We can certainly reach them. So if you have that clarity, then you can get on a call, or you can be in a networking event and say, my audience is da 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 da, and we serve them, they have this problem, and we serve them with this solution that they love. And some people will say, ooh, that is my audience. Oh, they do have that problem. They would thank me for introducing them to you. As opposed to, we help all entrepreneurs to get more sales through social media marketing. Yeah, sure you do. Because I think it's credibility too. If you say we help everyone to do everything, no, you don't. We know you
Yeah.
don't.
Not a
But
very
if you say,
compelling pitch.
yeah, but if you say something, like I was impressed by FlowChat, because when I heard you facilitate human communication by helping us keep track of who we're going to be talking to, who we have talked to, and what message we need to send next, but then the technology facilitates the human interaction, I said, that is a valuable product because it threads that needle. It's not too much of me doing everything, and it's not too much of the computer talking to people, because neither of those is good. It solves a known problem that I and other people have. So it made it clear what it was. So having that clarity then lets you talk to the right people and invite the right people. Because finding partners is fundamentally like finding customers.
Yeah.
They have, you solve a problem, they have a need, you're looking for the ones that match, you want to attract the right people. So if you say, we solve this problem for an audience, if you have that audience, your audience will love you and you'll get paid if we work together. Same kind of concept. So once you do that, you'll attract the right people. If you attract the right people, you have less calls with the wrong people, and you don't need to spend as much of your time and mental energy talking to lots of people.
Yes, faster sales cycles, smoother onboarding, higher retention. I love all those words. So now that we've kind of dialed in what a great referral partner looks like, I'd like to go a little more granular and get to see the eyes of a networking room through Michael's eyes. You and I were about to go to this event. You're entering the front door, and you see a room full of people. How do you approach the room?
So a live event we're talking about.
Yeah.
So a live event is interesting because you're basically going in blind, assuming you don't know people already. The first thing I will always say is novice networkers, and not novice to judgment, because that's most of the world, but people who are not experienced networkers will go into a room and say, oh, this is tough. Everyone already knows each other. They're very cliquey. They're not very welcoming, because most people there are somewhat socially anxious. And so they either are talking to people they already know and holding on to them like a drowning man in the water holding on to a life raft, or they just met somebody and they're getting into conversation with them and holding on to them like a drowning man in the water holding onto a life raft. Either way, everyone looking engrossed in conversation is because they know if they leave this conversation, they're back out in the water again. So it's not that everyone is engrossed, is having deep, meaningful conversations. It's just that they all would rather not have to talk to another stranger. So when you approach someone at a networking event and talk to them, you are helping them because they know they need to talk to more people, but they don't want to actually do it because it's hard and stressful, and they're kind of shy because everyone's a little bit shy. So if you approach them, then they're going to be receptive. They should be receptive. Can't guarantee, but they should be receptive because you're doing their work for them. You are breaking the ice and approaching them and opening that conversation.
Love that.
Now, in a social context, it could be different. If you're at a wedding approaching people or a party, people may or may not respond because they're there for their own reasons. But at a networking event, if they aren't responsive when you approach them, that's on them. That's their social faux pas. They're there to meet people. And if they're not, that's their problem, not your problem. Go find someone who understands what the game is.
So, okay, I like that framework of, hey, everyone's kind of feeling the same thing. So, like, just throw fear out the window and, like, you're solving a problem for somebody. I'm sure that'll make people feel great. Now, we get past that, and now we're approaching them, is what you're suggesting. What do we say?
So there's different things you can say, and I'm not going to share a specific script. I mean, the magical phrase that I use to start any conversation is, hi, I'm Michael. I don't think we've met. I recommend you use your name. So in your case, you'd say, hi, I'm Chris. I don't think we've met. You could say, hi, I'm Michael, but that'd be a little weird.
Advice, like, hi, I'm Michael. And it just didn't work that well. Like,
yeah.
Like, wait, you're Chris or you're Michael? I'm like, I don't know. Anyway.
Although that would lead to a conversation. You'd be like, actually, funny story. There's this networking expert named Michael. He told me I should approach people and say exactly that. I don't know why, but that's what he said. And then they'll either laugh or not. And if they don't laugh, walk away because, they don't get your jokes.
Yeah.
But so that's what I say. But the focus is always looking for a problem they have that I can solve. And this is not necessarily looking for a problem I can sell them a solution to, but there's 3 different ways you can help someone in a networking context. One is selling them something, but that's the least common. And that's only if they make that opening and you clearly have a way to solve it. But the other 2, the more common, are introductions and advice. And an introduction, obviously, could be someone in the room, could be someone else could be an email introduction. The easiest introduction is one to, do you know that guy over there? Oh, no, I don't. Would you like to meet him? Yes, I would. Now they think, wow, what a great guy. I've known him for 3 minutes. He's already served me in some way.
Yeah.
And advice doesn't have to be, let me solve your problem. Advice could be, oh, have you read Alex Hormozy's book, or are you familiar with Confidence on Command YouTube channel, or just something like that. Just making a recommendation for a book or a YouTube channel or some sort of resource or some kind of idea can be very powerful. And if you serve them in one of those three ways, and so everything you're saying is looking for. So if you ask them, what do you do, or what's your business about, how's your ideal customer, whatever that is, they're all questions that lead you to finding some way that you can help them, finding some need they have that you might be able to serve. And that gives you a structure. And eventually they will feel so much need to reciprocate because you've just been talking about them and asking them what, their hopes, their dreams, their problems, how you can help them. They're eventually going to say, so what do you do? Mysterious man who's just trying to help me? Do you just help people at networking events? Which in my case, the answer is yes. But they're going to want to know, and now they're going to be asking, and since they got the floor and they've gotten to explain what they do and who their customers are and whatever, you don't have to worry about this. Am I talking too much? Am I controlling the conversation too much? And worst case, if they don't get the chance to ask you, they might ask for your card. Like, oh, I got to go. Can I get your card? Because I want to follow up with you. Because they know they monopolize the conversation. And now they're going to be like, who is this person? I want to know. There is also an introduction format that I recommend. It's especially good for virtual events that I learned from Mitch Russo, which I call it the Russo intro, which is a simple 2-line introduction. Because so many, Chris, have you ever heard those lengthy, rambling intros where they're like, for 37 years, I've done this, and then I did this, and I got a PhD, and I met this person, I worked with this person, blah, 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 blah. And by the time it's over, like, wait, so what do you do? Who are you? What happened? I fell asleep while you were talking. So this is 2 sentences. The first sentence is, how, starts with how, and the second sentence starts with what I do is. So, for example, I'll make one for you. How it can be valuable to reach out to people online, but it's hard to keep track of everyone you're talking to and who you need to connect with. What I do is provide a simple technological solution to facilitate you better engaging with your social media audience. Okay. So when people hear that, now they're thinking, oh, I wonder how that works. Does it work for LinkedIn? Is it expensive? Is it, they're going to have all these questions in their mind. And if you do this at a live event, they're going to start asking them. They're like, oh, tell me more. Bah, 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 bah. Now they're interviewing you. Now you don't have to worry about talking too much. You don't need an elevator pitch because they're going to ask what they want to know. And if you've tagged a problem they have, they may start asking their way to the sale. They may get to, so how much does that cost? How do I sign up? Is there a website for that? Can I sign up for it right now? And you're not trying to sell, they're selling themselves. Not to say you should ever go to a network event looking for prospects because you're there to network and connect, but don't turn it down if they pull their credit card out and say, hey, could I buy that right now? Because it could happen, or go to a follow-up meeting. But for virtual events, it's great too, because when everyone else is rambling and babbling and going over their 60 seconds, you're 18 seconds in and you've made it completely clear what you do. And then all you have to say is, so if you'd like more information or to connect, my calendar link and our video is in the chat. And now they're like, wow, that was so efficient. I know what the problem is. I know what they do. I want to talk to that guy. Because it sounds both interesting and like it won't take an hour for him to explain what he does.
It's true. It builds confidence. The ability to articulate the problem. Like, finding solutions is very easy. I've heard it said this way. But finding the problem and being able to say it in as few words as possible is very attractive. One of our former business coaches, he was like, the person that is able to do that the best wins the business 100% of the time. Just like you're saying. So no, this is great. As people are listening to this and like, okay, Michael's got the lines, he knows how to approach the room. Where can they go to get some more Michael?
So over the past 3 years, I've met over 2,000 people. I've been to, I don't know how many networking events and networking meetings. And I have over time been saying, I wish an event was like this. And finally said, why don't I run that event? And I couldn't answer why I didn't run it a year ago. So I'm running it now. I'm culminating all that into an event called JV Connect, which the first one's this December. It's going to run quarterly. And the website's been running under us here, that jv-connect.com. And it basically is built to facilitate what I'm talking about. So the core of the event, also I want to point out those bold words right there where it says no upsell, no high ticket offer, just connections. So a lot of these big networking events, They're actually there, come for the networking and stay. We're going to make you an offer. The main thing I want people to buy at this event is a ticket to the next one because they had such a great time, and hopefully inviting some of their friends. I don't have any $10,000 offer I'm making. But what it's built around is focused and directed breakout rooms where every attendee comes in, they're sharing what they're doing, and they're finding those synergies. So you get to triage, if you will, a whole bunch of awesome people and say, oh, I want to meet that one. I want to meet that one. I want to meet that one. They're hopefully doing good introductions. And as they do that, you are sending them a private message in the chat. Hey, here's my calendar link. We should connect. Oh, I've got a program that, I'd like to promote what you're doing. Whatever, it lets you meet. The target is to have over 200 people in attendance. And every time you go in one of these breakout rooms, you're going to meet 18 people. And so it's big enough to be efficient. You can meet a lot of people, but not overwhelming. You're not standing in front of the entire room, and you can have some conversations happening. And the goal is, in those 2 days, you could make 20, 30, 40 connections. So when you're saying at the beginning, making 3 months worth of strategic partnership connections in 2 days, you could theoretically go to this event and use it well. And by use it well, I mean, I'm sending all kinds of education ahead of time to tell you how to do that. And you could go in December and just fulfill those meetings for the next 3 months. And then in March, go again and do those meetings for the next 3 months. Don't go to any other networking events and have all the partner connections you need. And of course, they're going to lead to other introductions and other introductions. And it's specifically built to just supercharge that process and make those connections without having to deal with, okay, now we're going to do the pitch time. 90 minutes of me selling my product that you may or may not want. We don't have any of that. It is all built around building those results. And as I said, my business plan, and I'm actually very transparent about many of the aspects of this. My business plan is you go, you say, oh my God, this was amazing. I need to come back. And I know 10 people who need to come with me. And not because I'm saying, oh, will you be my affiliate partner? But you're saying, I want to bring 10 people. Oh, I can get a commission for that? Neat. But that's the focus, creating such an amazing event. People just want to come back and come back and come back. And because we've gotten away from that in event planning. It's all about, the upsell and the high ticket offer and the funnel and the, lifetime value and whatnot. And not a lot of people I hear talk about, I want to run such an amazing event that people can't imagine not coming to the next one. And that's my goal, is to create that event where people are going to come out. Ideally, my goal is everyone gets $100,000 in value, whether that's through partners bringing them business, or through meeting a mentor who teaches them something, or finding someone whose program, unlocks the last piece they needed. But my goal is that everyone there gets $100,000 in value one way or another from meeting the incredible people we have there.
In 2011, my palms were sweating. My heart was about to beat out of my chest, and I was at my first networking event. And I was 20-0. And I needed to go sell all these people that were a decade or two older than I was. I'd never done sales. And I was in the payment technology industry. And so it's like, hey, here's why you should process millions of dollars with me, who knows nothing about business. What do you say? And so where do you start? My point to the story is, for the next 3+ years, I was in local chamber of commerce, and I was in BNI, and I was in these different networking environments weekly, and it changed my life. Mm-hmm. I went from, I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert, but if you meet me, they'd be like, wow, you're always talking to people, like he's an extrovert. And I even started to believe it. But as I did those tests or whatever, they're like, actually, you're more of an introvert.
Yeah. Meanwhile, your battery is going.
Yeah, I built a skill. And what's cool about networking specifically is you break down this barrier. There's no hesitation. You just naturally just start going to people and meeting them. And I love your opening line. I'm glad that you said it. It's like, hey, I'm Chris. Just stick out your hand. You're like, I don't think we've met yet, which is a great second part to it. Mm-hmm. And it's really just that simple. And then people love to talk about themselves. You ask them a couple questions, you listen, and you're off to the races. And so this one little practice started to leak into sales. It showed me how to listen, how to practice empathy, how to creatively solve problems. which led into marketing, which led into branding. This was my way into business. And so networking holds kind of, there's more to the story, but for today, jv-connect.com, it's environments like you are putting together that changed my life in the trajectory of my career and my business. I've now built multiple businesses, built and sold my first software company, and, working on my second one known as FlowChat that you're referencing. And that how I parent my kids, all the things. So I appreciate you coming on. Any last words or tips or advice you'd like to share with everyone?
Yeah. And I just want to amplify what you said, actually. So I attended an event a couple of years ago that this is modeled on. It was one of those enrollment events. So it did have, there was certain things that the fact that there was a sale being made changed, but it gave me access to a full range of people at much higher levels. And I found so many mentors there that I went from, what's this coaching industry? How does this work? I mean, I remember when they said, you're going to go into a breakout room to talk about giveaways. And I'm like, cool, what's a giveaway? I didn't know what the terminology meant, nothing. By 4 months later, I had gotten so much advice and support from the people I met there that it jumped me ahead 5 years. And that is my goal for this event, is that everyone who comes will get connections with, because I've personally invited over 200 established, ethical, experienced entrepreneurs who can be those mentors and supporters, and also, collaborators and partners and whatnot. And at least 60 of them committed to coming already. So I'm trying to build that room of the people who can give you that hand up to that next level, as you're talking about, that you're, instead of, some people, the people who are the obnoxious cold callers and cold DMers and obnoxious salespeople, they don't know any better. They're not bad people. Someone told them this is how you sell, and they're like, okay, I guess that's what I have to do. And they never had a mentor who said, huh? Yeah, because they never had the mentor to say, no, that's not the best way to do things. You really want to try this way. And so I want to create the space where people can meet those mentors and meet those connections to have the experience you did of, learning business from, not from books and courses, but from people who are there and actually want to support you along the way.
Awesome. Michael, I appreciate you coming out today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Hey, and thank you for listening and watching. We take your time and your attention just as serious as we do our own, which is why we only talk to real entrepreneurs that are getting real results out in the marketplace. And if you want more of this type of content, stay tuned, because like Michael, we're meeting people every single day, and we want to share the good stuff, the curated stuff with you guys. Appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one.